The Women's Elimination Chamber on March the 1st there, bringing in the Ides of March. Alexa Bliss versus Roxanne Perez versus Bayley versus Bianca versus Liv Morgan versus Naomi was the lineup there. And help me out at the start of this. The winner of the Women's Elimination Chamber, since it's the women's version of the men's chamber, the winner of the women's gets to pick which women's champion they want to face, right? Except,
well, Charlotte.
I thought the Rumble was the
right. They get the other one. They get the other.
They get this. So therein lies part of this problem.
What?
Because they've not only got 2 men's titles, they got 2 women's titles. It was Royal Rumble winner gets a shot at the champion at WrestleMania. Everybody had a grip on that. Well, then there's 2 titles, and there's the men's and the Elimination Chamber. But now there's the women's, but there's 2 women's. So now there's the men's and women's. And it gets exponentially harder to keep straight exactly which of the cataclysmic confrontations that we are expected to consume and pay for the privilege, Brian. So forgive me my indignation.
I think you're the only one having the problem, though. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's the same thing as the Cody one later on. The winner gets Cody. The winner of this gets the... I mean, they made it out like it's the winner of Rhea versus Io, but obviously no one expects Io to beat Rhea for the title.
That's another thing that confused the issue when it came out. When is Rhea and Io? Io, not Io. Io. We ain't heard nothing yet.
She's wrestling not Rio. Io.
Rio. Stop. Is Rio back? Rio.
I didn't even say Rio. I said Rio. And listen.
Her name is Rio and she dances in the ring?
I believe they're wrestling tonight as we speak.
Well, see, again, so goddamn it, so... And then, think about this now. Then Charlotte said she was going to go to goddamn NXT and check their champion out too, which further complicated the whole... I'm just saying, people have lives. I understand some people impregnate other people and have children. You can't keep.
Where have you heard about this?
Shit.
Where have you heard about this?
I saw it on TV the other night on the news. This woman had a kid. Anyway, so, and also in this case, I'm sorry, I have to be true to my morals and my principles. And it's not just because it's the women. It could be the men. The Royal Rumble, Hell in a Cell, every other great goddamn gimmick match that is the centerpiece of every pay-per-view throughout the year. You have to see one before you get to see one. And it's the same as whether it's women or whether it's okay. Now that we got our 6 guys in the main event, we got the Punks and the Cenas and the Zabada. Now let's get the next 6 and put them on before. Does that make sense to you, Brian?
Well, again, there was a 2-match buffer, and in WWE, 2 matches means 3 hours. So.
But no, it's the same fucking crowd. And you're watching the same fucking show. It's not even a goddamn like a double feature in the movie where they come to some conclusion of the first issue and then go on in a different direction, possibly in the same genre, but definitely with different actors and fucking script writers. So anyway, and also, if it's the most dangerous match in the world, which we are led to believe at various times, Elimination Chamber, Hell in a Cell, Royal Rumble, a party at Daddy Diddy's house, all these things, the most dangerous things in the world. And before we see these fucking giant, jacked up genetic freaks like Drew McIntyre doing it, we're seeing a bunch of 125-pound girls do the same thing. So I'm not sure how it helps anybody. But nevertheless, we press on. I'm just...
Men, we must move on. We can't let this stop us here.
We're going to charge up Liv Morgan Hill and plant our flag at Mount Vulva. So the match was almost ready to start. What are you laughing at?
This took a turn, ladies and gentlemen. I'm no longer with this army here. I don't know what happened.
Oh, you're fighting for the other side? Is that
I don't know what hill and planting and sticking and whatever you're doing over there. It doesn't necessarily sound like it's a pleasant activity for anyone, but back to the match.
Well, yes, so speaking of unpleasant activities, let's get back to the match. Because it was about to start.
It didn't even start yet.
It was about to start at about 20 minutes into this show. By the time they got in the ring, it was about to start when suddenly more music played. And here came Jade Cargill. We haven't seen her since... I don't know when. When will I see you again? When will we share precious moments? Are we in love or just friends? Oh. So Liv figured they weren't friends and she was just shaking like a dog shitting peach seeds over this whole thing. Because here came Jade. And Jade came into the ring and Liv was begging off and suddenly Jade jumped Naomi and just beat the teetotal dog shit out of her. Dog shit, I say, Andy. And Bianca, the friend and confidant of Bud, former partner, she's in the middle of this triangle of violence. She was in the pod, as they say. They're the pod people, Brian. They've come for us. She's freaking, I mean, she needs to have an Academy Award. Now, do they do Best Silent Movie Performance? Because you couldn't hear her, but boy, she was emoting.
Yeah, she was a very sad mime. She was a very sad mime.
Very sad mime. Oh, she emoted all over herself. And the referees got Jade off, and Jade slammed the door on Naomi's head and stalked out in a huff, as they say. That's what Vince said about me one time when I was stalked out in a huff. And Naomi was stretchered out. She was stretched out, and then they stretchered her out, which is the past tense of stretchering. They carried her out. So then, before we go any further with this contest, now that's why everybody's saying that Jade has attacked Naomi because Naomi was behind. She was the one that did the phantom injury to Jade when Jade got hurt from something. We still don't know what the fuck was going on there. And so now she has come back to get revenge, and Bianca was unaware of this whole thing because Naomi was just trying to insinuate herself in that spot. And they obviously knew they were doing this because they conveniently switched one of the women's tag team titles just last week. So this all comes together here. Naomi has been fingered publicly.
Okay, again, let's
What?
Let's watch the way we say things here.
Well, the blame has been put squarely on her by the perpetratee, Jade Cargill, that Naomi was the perpetrator.
In the last several weeks, have Liv and Raquel denied that it was them? I don't recall. I know they've wrestled Bianca and Naomi, and, Liv and Raquel are heels, so they kind of act like heels, but have they said, that wasn't us?
Well, I don't really know what their fucking story is, because I haven't asked them about it, but
I don't know if you've
at the same time, I would think that the victim would certainly know who perpetrated their perpetratees.
Jade was all in black, whatever that still means in this day and age, whether you wear all white or all black, whether you're a heel or babyface.
Has it been on an album cover lately?
What do you think about doing this to start off the match, to start off the night? What do you think about doing this kind of angle, this kind of payoff to something? Or at least, in part, we still don't know the story.
Well, this isn't the payoff. This is a bump in the road, a speed bump.
That's right. But what do you think about doing it so early in the show, right to start?
Well, I liked it because it shortened up the ladies' contest. And nobody, I think, of anybody in this thought that Naomi was going to be the winner. And the feisty underdog Roxanne Perez probably wouldn't have a lot of the big Vegas money on her because she's still new. But It made an impression. And also, at the same time, you've got the goddamn Elimination Chamber. How was Jade supposed to come out and do a cane thing and rip the door off and get once they'd got started and all that shit? You know, I like they kind of started it off with a bang. To answer your question. But having said that, we were left with Liv and Bianca and Roxanne and Bayley and Alexa. They're all baby faces except for Liv. Liv has grown on me, Brian, like a tumor, just taking over my goddamn lymph nodes, and it's huge now.
Maybe a more of a benign tumor. Why do you have to go all the way over there?
Well, she may be benign, or, we might have to take a little biopsy of her. I know where I could get some DNA.
I don't know what the hell is going on with you today, but you got to stop with this stuff. But I agree with you. She has become one.
Oh, you do? We should take a
No, I don't agree with you on your weirdo stuff. I agree with you on Liv Morgan's become one of my favorite workers in the business because it's not just the wrestling. It's you say, earlier Bianca should have won the Academy Award for flipping out in the pod, and that was really something. Again, not to that level, and it was a minor thing, but Liv selling as Jade was coming out there, I thought was tremendous. She does all these little things really well, and she's pretty good in the ring too.
Oh, and here's the thing. I agree with everything except I still don't look forward to seeing Liv Morgan matches for the sake of it, right? It's not like the Tony Khan mentality. I bet Liv Morgan and Momo Watanabe could be a dream match or whatever.
You did it.
Liv, was that really it? I was taking a stab.
I think you got it.
Son of a bitch. What did I say now? You can play it back for me later. Liv Morgan is she was a personality on the women's roster, but then the whole thing with Dominic and etc. I think I mentioned before to you, slingshotted her, and she was interacting with the top guys as well in the mix there, just like it did for Rhea, and she's taken it and run with it as a personality, as the facial expressions and the way she has inserted herself into, everybody's fucking business, and the heel and the promo, that has grown on me. So as a overall personality, she's a lot more valuable now than she was a couple of years ago, which a lot of these guys and girls can say that they are because of the change in the winds that change direction.
It's a weird statement to make, but in a lot of ways, one of the best things to happen to women's wrestling in WWE in terms of getting over on a main event level has been Dominic Mysterio. The Mommy and Dominic stuff, that blew up.
Yeah.
And it carried on to the Liv stuff, and that's turned into its own thing. If you really think about it, I mean, he works ringside those matches like an old manager in a lot of ways.
You know what? We ought to give him like the Fabulous Moolah Award for the person who's done the most for women's wrestling. But now here's the thing. Bayley was the only person above 5'3" in this match. Right? At this point.
Well, Bianca.
And okay, Bianca, I'll give 5'6". Is she 5'6"?
I'll say at least that, so I'm okay with that.
Okay. Well, but and again, you have Bianca pretty much was the person that you would think was going to win this if Liv Morgan didn't, from the way that they have been presented on television. But besides that, it's the fucking, I'm seeing the same kind of matches I'm going to see later on. And we'll talk about when we do the review of the men's match, how that it can't help but be a collection of moves back and forth and stunts that are set up rather than any kind of flow of the art of having a wrestling match that the top guys that are tied up in the main event match would be so good at. And it becomes every man for himself in a Royal Rumble or a Battle Royal, okay, but every man for himself in this thing where they don't even have any room to fucking get out of there for a minute. And it's just back. It's more stunt show than wrestling match to me, because you just reach the point where, what the fuck are we doing here? It looks like a game show set. So then I see one of these with the women before I see the one with the guys that I'm all interested in to find out who's going to fuck who around. But having said that, Bianca and Liv were the last two. Surprise, surprise. And Bianca hit her finish. Boom. 1, 2, 3.
What'd you think of the whip spot with Bianca's blade?
Oh, well, and I was going to, with not only that, but did you see the picture that, well, I don't think I follow Liv Morgan on the Twitter, maybe it was Instagram, but somebody tweeted it that besides the...
Maybe it was your burner.
Now, say again?
I said maybe it was your burner account. You follow Liv Morgan.
Oh, I forgot that. That's the extra one that the kids have to
That's right.
keep everything quiet. Okay. But no, at one point Bianca whipped her with that. What does she have in that hair braid, or holding the end of that hair braid together? But she whipped Liv Morgan across the back, and she had a big fucking welt like a goddamn country whipping match. But also Liv was showing the back of her arm was bruised all over the place. And again, it's special effects, but that doesn't mean that it's all goddamn, styrofoam that looks like plexiglass and metal framework and lights hanging and everything. All that shit can fuck you up. So point being is that and again, that's why it's rough as shit. But still, the girls survived. So how much sympathy can I have for Cena and McIntyre and Rollins and the gang? But nevertheless, after this contest was over with, Bianca was in the entranceway, and Rhea comes out and confronts her. And there's two baby faces. Now, they're both stars. But then, as I've asked you before, Io Sky wanders out to complicate the issue and looks like a kid asking for an autograph next to Bianca and Rhea. So what is this match supposed to fucking be?
Well, let me ask you, too. You said they're both baby faces. Do you think it's a given that Bianca wasn't involved with Naomi and jumping Jade or anything?
Well, then wouldn't Jade have been up in fucking Bianca's face trying to kick in the goddamn plexiglass, going, motherfucker, I'll get you too. Get out of here. Get out of here.
She kind of tortured her, making her sit there and watch her best friend get the shit kicked out of her.
Well, she just happened to be there. I mean, if two people attacked you, are you going to murder one and then not even fucking acknowledge the other one that's watching out the window?
No, I would murder them right in the middle of the squared circle in front of 35,000 people. That's what I would.
Well, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah. In the course of any kind of logic, a forethought.
Because, I mean, that's the other thing. If they're going to do Rhea versus Bianca at WrestleMania, and this whole Jade Naomi thing is going to play out, just so happens it's WrestleMania time. Something has to, you would think there'd be some sort of resolution or some sort of bump in the road there.
Well, but would you be doing a major heel turn of a well-established babyface right at this particular point?
No, I wouldn't.
So I think that Jade got Naomi because Naomi orchestrated this thing to fucking become one half the tag team champions and get in good. And I think they thought of that right after Jade got hurt, however she got hurt.
Because Jade came out and acted like a heel, was dressed in all black, stormed off, didn't even acknowledge Bianca. But she's going to be the babyface? Because she kicked the shit out of Naomi, who's never been anything but the babyface. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, actually. And I like the match. Well, I just want to say I like the match. I thought
she'll blame Naomi at least.
I thought Liv Morgan was great. I thought Roxanne Perez was really good too, and really good match.
Roxanne!
Oh God!
You don't have to win the Elimination Chamber To be in our hearts, just be as cute as you are.
Okay, yeah, that song took a weird turn there. I hope she stays in developmental if it means no more of that.